What's up? My name is Jared Kaufman from Kaufman Construction. I've been a framer for about 10 years, and today I'm looking at the Spec Ops Elite Rafter Square and their standard issue model as well. Now, both of these squares have features built into them that showcase the common dimensions that we use in framing all the time. So here on the right side of the Scribe notches, I've got a 1/2 inch there, I've got 3/4 to this side, I've got 1.5 inches right here, which is your typical 2x material nominal thickness. We've got 3.5 right here on this side of the cutout, 5.5 here, and 6 inches here. We've also got dimensions in between there as well. So this can be useful if I were to mark out a wall section. I could get my wall sheathing thickness right there. I can slide over to there. I can mark 3.5 if that was the thickness of my stud. I've got my stud here and my sheathing here, and that's really easy if I wanted to do story pole, incorporating sheathing into it as well. There's also a couple features built into the square that will help us mark our plumb cuts and our bird's mouths in our rafters. So I've got here an 8/12 common plumb cut. Then I can use the bullet decal in the cutout. I can line it up through both sides of my plumb cut, just like that. Mark it 3.5. And if I want to use the diagonal line, I can flip that over, line it up with both sides of my plumb cut, get the 45 right on the edge of my lumber like that, and that'll get me a 3.5 inch seat cut as well. So we've also got a wider heel than what you'll see on standard squares, and this is helpful when you've got wind on your board like we have right here. The heel will span across that and let you still get a nice straight square mark. So we also have a 3/16 thick heel here, which matches the standard square. So if you have multiple carpenters using different squares laying deck boards, this will work with that. 3/16 is a common spacing used for deck boards, so you can set your heel in there, lay your other board, and you'll have a nice consistent spacing for your deck. So we also have our full ruler on the top of the heel here. This can be useful. I like to use it with a laser where I'm checking my elevations here when I'm checking for level. It's also great for transferring lines from the top, like our first layout we did here. I can mark it all referencing that ruler right there. We've also got our ruler on the inside of our heel here. I like to use this butting against objects. You can check your dimension away there and mark it if you need to. It's also great for marking when you're laying out your rafters because you've got a flat ruler that you can use. You can mark your hip drop, or if you need to mark a shorter overhang, you can use that as well. Put your dimension on the line and mark the end just like that. Now all the lines on this square, we've got a 1/16 inch scale here, which is great if you're doing finer measurements. These are all stamped and they're also laser engraved, which means you get the durability of the stamp but the precision of the laser engraved. So if you're working out in the elements, you need to scrape mud or ice off of a board, you can do that and the square is going to hold up, it's going to be durable, but it's going to remain accurate as well. We've also got a level vial here built into the square. You can use it to check plumb on this surface, level here. You can even check a 45-degree plane as well. These are the same functions that a torpedo level has, so in theory you can use this tool to replace your torpedo level. I also like to use this to check roof pitches or angles. You can use your pivot point here on the top of a rafter or an angled piece, reference your level, get it nice and level, and then you can look at your gauge here and that'll tell you what pitch or angle you're working with. We've got our scribe marks here. We've got 1/4 inch on each side offset to give you an 1/8 inch all the way up to 5.5 inches and all the way down to 1/4 inch. We've got the bullet decals on 1.5 inches, 3.5, and 5.5 here. We've also got an indent around 3 inches, which is a common dimension used as well. And these scribes are sized perfectly that if you're using a thicker carpenter pencil like this one or a sharper fine point one for finish work, they'll work all the same. We've also got the onboard blade wrench here. It's a 7/16 socket, which is standard for most saws. So if you need to change your blade and you've lost your wrench, you can use the wrench built into the square here to get your saw up and running again. We also have a slightly longer blade here than what you'll see on standard squares, which is great when you're marking 8-inch nominal lumber like this. You can mark the full width of the piece without needing to flip the square to the other side. You'll also notice this QR code in the middle of the square here. If you scan that with your phone, it'll take you to a landing page that has a rafter calculator. You can calculate your king commons, your hips, your jacks, all that stuff. And they'll also have sort of a guideline as far to how to actually use the square to frame a roof. So you've got these holes in the bottom of the heel here. These are an integrated compass. So you can put your nail or a small screw in one end, put your pencil in the corresponding hole for the size radius you need, and you can use that to mark a perfect circle all the way around. Whether you're marking it in subfloor or sheetrock, you can use this to mark and cut a perfect circle.